Well, hello and welcome back, my Bottle Language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Bottle Language guy, and welcome to episode 84 of the Jesus Enrique Rosas Show. We are live through YouTube, Rumble, and on the X. You will be able to download and listen also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Anywhere that you listen or get your podcast, anywhere. There's no way that you can miss my show. Also, remember to download my free 100 bottle language tips in the description of this video, and you will be subscribed to my awesome emails as well. It's time also to remember now the heart and soul of this show is the live chat. Remember that I'm keeping an eye on your comments, every single thing that you say, and if you have a great comment and I can highlight it during any of our topics, I will do it, and you will be part of the show because you already are part of the show. Remember that the easiest way to support my channel is to like and subscribe. It's that easy. Just takes like what? 5 seconds. 5 seconds. It's that easy. It's that easy. Just 5 seconds. So we are ready to begin. We have a packed show, so we might as well start as soon as possible because there's a lot. There's a lot going on. Let's just highlight the live chat one last time before we begin. And we are okay. We are ready to get started. We're ready to get started. I have my clock, my X dashboard. We are ready to begin. We have the topics, just to review the topics that we are having today. We are having more social security numbers, fraud. We've got Keir Starmer, who wants to go to war. The United States and Russia are still are already in talks. Zelensky has been sidelined. We have a Meghan who ditched her ARO brand. She released a reel we're going to analyze from a bottle language perspective, and a couple more topics. One about, I think one about the shots, and a couple more topics. So let's begin with the first one. And the first one. Our first topic of today has to do with the fact that this downward spiral, maybe a rabbit hole is a more appropriate expression. This rabbit hole of social security fraud is way deeper than we first thought. We have that Michelle King, the acting head of the Social Security Administration, has resigned after a dispute with Dodge staff, the Department of Government Efficiency, as per the New York Post. Yesterday, Elon Musk revealed there were nearly 20 million dead people on the Social Security database. Now, we still don't know. We still have no confirmation. This is important. Do not freak out. We don't have confirmation that 20 million people, dead people, were actually cashing in checks, but we don't have confirmation that they weren't either. So that still has to be confirmed. So yes, as shown for us comments, 20 million dead people were receiving Social Security payments, and there are people who don't want that to stop. What? That is something that is odd. Again, we don't have actual confirmation of that. But the fact that there are so many liberals, Democrats, you name them, blue voters that don't want any of this be exposed. They don't want Elon Musk rummaging through any of this. And we are not only talking about the government. We don't not talking only about officials or people who could be invested in this. No, we are talking about regular people, taxpayers, who don't want this to be happening, who are apparently okay with their hard-earned money paid in taxes going to other countries and paying for this absurd initiatives in other countries. I don't understand how that works. This Drano, this woman needs to be investigated for fraud. She paid Social Security benefits to more than 16 million people listed as being over 100 years old. And there's one thing that, again, we don't have the confirmation, but at the same time, there is no like this feedback between the Treasury, the ones who write the checks, and the Social Security system as to, you know what, you don't have to write these checks, because the problem is, if you look at the database of Social Security numbers, the database it's like it already states that these people are not dead. And you can imagine that for a system to be efficient, if a person is not dead, then the check is going to be issued. And if the checks are issued and someone cashes them some way, you know that, well, there are always ways to cash in checks. Then is this really happening? Let's see. Who were these payments actually going to? Connected insiders? There's a lot that we have to find out. And, well, remember that Elon Musk said the real reason so many Democrats are upset about entitlements, Social Security, medical, etc., fraud investigations, is that they are using your taxpayer money as handouts to attract and retain illegal immigrants, their future voters. That's what it's all about, the truth. And George, behind the tweet, says, holy moly, Stephen Miller just confirmed that foreign fraud rings have been using fake Social Security numbers and identities to steal billions of taxpayer benefits through the IRS. So we already know that Dodge has been inside the IRS for, 5 days now? They entered the building on Friday. They have been checking all the connections. It's not easy because it's a huge system. And the most important thing is that they have to make some kind of roadmap of where all the data comes and goes, and where all the money comes and goes. That couldn't be easy because it's like a mess of metaphorical cables. Miller confirmed Dodge is about to gather the records. Let's watch this video in all cases. Watch this video and listen for ourselves.
What are the plans to do so if those records are obtained?
Well, as we know, there's a massive amount of fraud in this country. You have, for example, foreign fraud rings. These are foreign nationals who come into the United States. They use fake Social Security numbers. They use fake identities to steal billions in taxpayer benefits.
Now, my first question is like, because, well, we had that in Venezuela. If Venezuela is like, welcome, the song Welcome to the Jungle. If you got the money, honey, we got your disease or your ID or whatever you need. That's Venezuela. That's one of the perks of living in a very corrupt country. But my question is, in the United States, being a high-trust society, how do you get fake Social Security numbers? How do you get that? I mean, that should be bulletproof. That should be idiot-proof. That should be fraud-proof. But it seems that it isn't.
There's no way to know until Doge gains full access exactly how much money we're talking about. But over a 10-year normal budget window, you could be talking about saving over $1 trillion by clamping down on massive fraud in our tax and entitlement systems, including, again, those carried out by organized fraud and theft rings. A very important point in all this is to understand that Doge are subordinate staffers of the federal government. They are political appointees, just like me, just like everyone else in the White House, that serve and answer to the president. So we're not talking about an outside private entity.
It's important that people are saying, oh, they are getting access to our data. They are about to do all this shenanigans. And Elon Musk has said, if I wanted to do anything with your private data or your banking data or anything of their data, I would have done that when he was one of the heads at PayPal. You know that he was one of the ones with Peter Thiel who, well, helped, let's say, he did not actually create PayPal, but he was one of the who worked most of that. So claiming that he's out for your data is a bit asinine. That is the main attack that his detractors are trying. Oh, and that he's like just a private citizen, that he doesn't have any kind of clearance. He's like a contractor. He's like He's essentially doing the job that the Trump government is telling him to do, and he's doing it well. And the issue is that no, all these liberals are complaining, and we are going to see one of the most baffling examples of that complaining.
We're talking about the existing federal staff of the federal government performing their statutory and constitutional duty.
So they're just doing their job. This is a thing that most people fail to understand. Data Republican, small r, I have told you to follow Data Republican if you want to follow closely all the map of where the money is going. Data Republican already made a nice map of USAID, all the grants and where the money was coming from and going to. And even we got all that map going all the way out to Archwell, Harry and Meghan's Archwell. And Data Republican says, of course, the Social Security database can be fixed. In the private sector, handling payments at this scale is a solved problem. Managing 100 million records is not a significant challenge from a computer science perspective. It's just a database. Just a database. You just have to wait until you update all the database, which is rather quick. The real issue is a lack of willingness to take action, and this was in reply to Susan from Kansas. After all is said and done, I am not exactly sure how to word this, but can he fix it, straighten it out? It's just to, well, check that how many people over 120 years old are actually alive, which shouldn't be easy, shouldn't be hard to find, or confirm. And then you can clean up the database from that on. I think that the cutoff of 120 years old is a very solid one. It's a very easy one because I don't think that there are many people that live to 120 years old. So you can just cut whatever is from 120. That's like 20 million people. 20 million people in excess. But what else do we have? Dodge just revealed the government sent $4.7 trillion with a T, trillion, 4.7 trillion in untraceable payments. Untraceable. You're gonna trace these payments for some reason. And, well, the Treasury Access Symbol, TAS, is an in the identification code linking a Treasury payment to a budget line item, standard financial process. In the federal government, the TAS field was optional, so you can have it or not have it either, for 4.7 trillion in payments and was often left blank, making traceability almost impossible. As of Saturday, this is now a required field, increasing insight into where the money is actually going. Thanks to U.S. Treasury for the great work. So this, as I'm telling you, this has to be, it's not only Dodge who is doing this. Dodge is pointing out the flaws in the system and the connections to our other systems, in this case from the Social Security system to the Treasury, and the Treasury are making the necessary adjustments. But until somebody came and actually did this, like this was not going to happen. So you can imagine the amount of money that the system was bleeding. And you remember who was in charge the last 4 years? We have a new video about the one who was in charge in the last 4 years, and this is not good. I sometimes wonder, what if Biden was president right now? Not even Kamala Harris, but Biden right now. There's this video. And, well, I am going to disregard what they are saying. Just look at Biden's face, and you tell me if this man of meds could have been able to, run the country for 4 more years.
Oh my God, my Shayla, my Shayla.
It's just, you see, this is the sound, the background sound is a joke, but you see Joe's face, and you see that he's completely lost. He is not there. You see that he's got that face that, hey, Joe, where's Jill, by the way? If Jill is not there, You don't have to be an expert in body language to realize that this guy is not there. He's not there. Yo, it's time to retire. It's nice to know that you're eating ice cream, that you pardon your whole family, that you pardon all these criminals. That is nice. Please retire. Please retire. We're expecting for the, all the expose anytime soon. And that is going to be great when you and your whole criminal family are exposed. But though I don't think that he will be there, if you know what I mean, to realize what is about to go on. But in the rest of the stuff that we got, and people are talking about free speech, and people are talking how Trump is handling all this free speech, not only with the adjustment of Dodge, what Dodge is doing to the budget, but what J.D. Vance has been doing on a worldwide scale. And you know that Vance's speech to the European Union and the UK did not say it as well. And you get this Mark Caputo says President Trump's decision to limit AP reporters' access is a much fight over the Gulf of America as it a protest of what White House advisors says is years of liberal war choices that AP's influential style book has spread across mainstream media. So they are claiming that banning AP from the press room is banning free speech. And this Mehdi Hassan, I'm going to have a word about Mehdi Hassan in a minute. Hey, J.D. Vance, I know you're busy lecturing the Europeans on free speech, but have you seen this? And J.D. Vance made a comeback, a savage comeback that has more than 30 million views on X. Yes, dummy. I think there's a difference between not giving a reporter a seat in the White House press briefing room and jailing people for dissenting views. The latter is a threat to free speech. The former is not. Hope that helps. Now, that was absolutely savage. And, well, we already know that Mehdi Hassan is, well, a piece of shit. It's not all the way because he tweeted this. Make American planes, let's say, not fly properly again. And he deleted that. You know that there was this was a small plane crash at Georgia's Capital Airport. We also have the Toronto Airport crash. But for some reason, he tweeted this. And he tried to be edgy, and he deleted that. What we know now, we know that the guy is a complete piece of shit. And regarding the people that are exposing themselves to all this, you know that yesterday I talked about Lindy Lee, and I was attacked by some users on X. Oh, but you know that Lindy, she helped expose Biden's decline. You know, the decline that we saw. She helped expose Biden's decline. How can you call her a grifter? She's a grifter. She's a political wine vein. And people were sending me to this video with the Sean Ryan show from February 6th. And they, that she helped leak all the, the Biden, the decline of Biden's cognitive abilities. And I say, how can these people be so daft? How can these people not be able to make the easiest X search? Because I asked these people who were defending her, you know that she helped expose Biden's dementia. All right. Well, please provide me the screenshots. Hello? Nobody could. But I did. I said, well, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to do their homework. And I found one tweet of Lindy Lee talking about cognitive decline. But the tweet was this, and I'm going to read it out loud so you can understand the kind of grifter and the kind of people that are defending her and the conservatives who are retarded enough to give her a platform. She tweeted on March 3rd, 2024, March 2024, she tweeted this. Did the media slam Trump for confusing Obama with Biden again? No. Did they demand answers for Trump's cognitive decline and brain short-circuiting? No, she's saying that it's Trump who is the one who with cognitive decline. Did they note how Trump keeps underperforming polls? No. And this is the best part. Did they point out Biden keeps overperforming? Biden keeps overperforming. As late as March 2024, this lady that claims that she was the one who broke out the news that Biden had dementia, in March, she said that Biden was overperforming, that he was in top notch, that Trump was the one who had cognitive decline. Media, you are failing us. This is your current conservative queen, you're fools. You're falling for this. This is sad. This is sad. That's why my common sense crusaders come to my show so I can show you the real grifters, so that I can show you the real facts. None of this is made up by yours truly. I'm just showing you the receipts, and I'm just showing you the dates so you can, well, reach your conclusions for yourself. How these conservatives are making a fool of themselves. So I think that Dodge should also clean up the imbecility of all these people, but, well, I think that is a major overtaken, I don't know, job. It's way too big. But I would like to know what you think about this in the comments. Yeah, she's absolutely not to be trusted, Fiona. I don't know how is it possible? And I ask people, okay, I gave you screenshots of all her attacks on Trump. Maybe she actually helped expose Biden's dementia. But if you tell me that in March 2024, she said that Trump was the one with cognitive decline and Biden was overperforming, Biden was, as sharp as, I don't know, as attack. And I rest my case. How can you defend that? I don't understand. I don't understand how these people are real. But there are other guys that I've been discovering recently. It's like, wait a second. There are other guys that might be the voice of reason in terms of all these liberals and all these Democrat voters and all these libtards who are against cleaning up the government. What are they thinking about? And the older millennial, Team FU Joe, says, if you had told me 10 years ago that the number one cause liberals would be fighting for is the right of our government to spend trillions in other countries while we go into debt, what kind of crusade is that? What kind of a stance is that? And let's listen to the older millennials word.
Do you fucking liberals recognize that the main cause you're fighting for right now is for the right of unelected bureaucrats to spend billions of our tax dollars in other countries? That's the side you're on right now. That's what you're making videos about. That's what you're writing articles on Substack about. That's what you're protesting for. That's what you're filing lawsuits to make sure happens.
Yeah, it's like I'm making videos, maybe not right on Substack, I'm not on Substack, but I'm making videos to expose the reality of what is going on. And there are actually people making videos protesting that Elon Musk is exposing all this. They are against drained in the swamp. They are pro spending all their taxpayer money. Taxpayer money, the tax money that they pay themselves. They are protesting, making videos, making a stand, going to Blue Sky, trying to that this is all also unfair. This is insane. This is peak insanity. This is I don't know. Again, I try to let's say think of how or on what can the Democrats run for 2028? And I have no idea. They are completely lost. They have to rebuild themselves from scratch. And as for me, well, I just hope that AOC and this other lady that I forgot her name the other day, they keep opening their mouths and opening their Instagram accounts to all that insanity, because that is just marvelous to watch. What are they going to do? Not complaining. We are based in common sense. This guy, I began following him, by the way. He's speaking common sense, and he's exposing what these liberals are for, to spend their own money on what? On trans operas for Somalia or something like that? I don't know.
Are you fucking stupid? Imagine if I had told you 10 years ago that in 2025, the thing liberals in America would most be fighting for is for billions, if not trillions of dollars of their money to be spent in other countries on things that don't benefit America in any fucking way, while America goes farther and farther into debt. What if I had told you 10 years ago that you'd be fighting for the right of politicians to be able to line their pockets with bullshit payments to bullshit programs in bullshit countries? You wouldn't have believed me. That's where we are. That's what you're fighting for. And what you're fighting against? You're fighting against people who just want to audit our government, who just want to audit our governmental agencies, people who just want to see where we're spending money, where we're wasting money, and where we're committing fraud. And you're fighting against that. Are you out of your fucking mind?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are, because this is the thing that I've told you that is so dangerous about this crowd thinking. Or there's another term for that. It's like since Trump is in the government, then since they are against Trump, there's no way Trump does anything that could be good. And that is one of the worst way of thinking. Again, I've told you so many times that you have to separate the action from the person. Sometimes people that we totally and completely despise, sometimes those people that we despise do things and say things that make sense. And you pause for a second and you say, hey, wait a minute, this absolutely makes sense. I always talk about Hugo Chavez, the main responsible for destroying my country, Venezuela. And I always remember the example that he said one thing in his very long period as emperor of Venezuela. He said one thing that makes sense, and still today it made sense back then, and it makes sense right now. He said, I'm going to paraphrase him, that at some point, if it's very ironic that he said that. He said that at some point, a country, the people of a country can become so upset, so oppressed, so everything. Their treatment can be so unjust that the only way out is violence. And he was right. He was right back then. He's dead now, but he's still right now. That's something that has been true since the dawn of time. If you are a stupid person and you despise Hugo Chavez, you will find a way to, let's say, challenge that. And that would be stupid, because even if somebody, you don't like him, I still don't like him, that makes sense. Okay, that was one of the reasons he made sure to sign that, to get that law to disarm Venezuelans. We could own guns. Okay, we could own guns up to 2012, and all these representatives at Congress who are one more retarded than the other. And yes, I have to say that Maria Corina Machado is one of them. Thank you, Maria Corina. You also raised your hand when all them, by unanimity, all then signed the law to disarm Venezuelans. Thank you very much. Maybe you never grabbed a fucking history book and you didn't realize that if you take the guns out of the people, then, well, the people will not have the means to defend themselves against a tyrannical government. But, well, the rest of history. That's why I'm telling you, for Americans, make sure that that Second Amendment that remains in place no matter what. That Second Amendment protects you from the government. That is important. But this is the thing. I digress. But it's the same thing. It's like these people cannot think. These people cannot separate that, cannot realize that Trump is doing something actually good. The moment they glitched is when Trump banned men from women's sports. I mean, there were still here and there, especially on Reddit, of course, people complaining about this, saying that this was unfair, but you saw a certain silence in the left-leaning media or the paid-for media, and in most of the left of the leftards. They said, okay, this is something that we agree on, and they did not criticize Trump. It would have been absurd. It would have been absurd, but some of them did. So when Elon Musk, for example, says that he is going to audit Fort Knox to see if the gold is still there, which is important, right? Because it hasn't been audited in, what, 70 years? 70 years? This question is important. Thank you, Pepe. How much did USA give to opposition, quote unquote, in Venezuela? Millions of dollars. I don't know effectively how many, but I know that checks were written. At least 20 million. I should talk about that. 20 million were paid for, or 30 million. We still don't know. And that's a topic for another video, but I should expose them as well. I should expose them. But if Elon Musk says, hey, you know what? We should open Fort Knox to see if the gold is still there. Are people going to complain? Maybe maybe they can live stream on X. Let's open Fort Knox and let's count the gold. How you call los lingotes de oro? The gold bars. Elon Musk proposes to live stream a real-time video tour of Fort Knox, allowing Americans to verify the presence of the 4,580 tons of gold stored there. We need to know, and, well, Senator Rand Paul was okay with that. Dodge is now proving Fort Knox gold reserves.
Well, you know, I've been trying to go down and see the gold, make sure it's all there for about 10 years. During the first Trump administration, I got permission. You have to get permission all the way up to the Secretary of Treasury. And then the Secretary of Treasury said, well, I want to go down there, too. And then he said, I want to go down there when the eclipse is coming through Kentucky, too, so I can see the eclipse and the gold at the same time. But they came when I wasn't there. So I tried for 10 years. I set up the appointment. And then because they wanted to see the eclipse, they changed the appointment. I didn't get to go down. But the Secretary of Treasury and the senior senator from Kentucky did go down and attest that they believe they saw the gold down there.
They believe they saw the gold. What if you know, it's like Mission Impossible. You have some kind of a projector that projects a hologram of the gold. Unless you touch the gold with your own hands, you will not be sure if the gold is there. So that is concerning. They believe they saw the gold down now. That is a bit of hearsay.
So what do you think the problem is?
You know, I think some of them may not think it needs to be audited all the time, but I think the more sunlight, the better, more transparency, the better. Yeah. And also it brings attention to the fact that gold still has value, and implicitly, not explicitly, but implicitly, gold still gives value to the dollar. Yeah. That's why we don't get rid of it. You know, we've got it. The IMF has it. The World Bank has it. Most of the central banks around the world have gold, and it's an implicit trust that the dollar still has some back.
Well, one thing that people are saying that it could be like not a conspiracy theory, but can be a theory that one side it could be the problem that they are not all the tons of gold that should be there. That they are missing a couple tons or maybe a couple dozen tons. So who knows? But the other theory is that there could be more gold then there should be there. So the question would be, where did that more gold came from? If there's more gold, then there should be registered, right? It would be odd as well if you have some kind of audit of how much gold has is in the reserves, and if they're more or less, either scenario would be suspicious. And these people are against the transparency. This is a thing that I tell you is so dangerous. One has to have, one of the most important things that you can develop is critical thinking. And you have to look at things for what they are. As in, you know that Javier Milei from Argentina issued a meme coin. I could say a shit meme coin, and it essentially collapsed, as most meme coins do. And now he's in a lot of trouble. My question is, why did he do that? Why did he issue a meme coin? How is it possible that somebody who is focused on something as important as, recovering Argentina, and he was doing such a great job, you're going to tarnish what you're doing with a meme coin? And again, in my opinion, whatever Donald Trump did with his meme coin and Melania Trump did with her meme coin, I think that was a very bad sign. That was a red flag, because in 99% of scenarios, people lose money with those initiatives. So, that's the thing. That's how we have to call things out. We need to call things out when they're okay, and we need to call things out when they are not okay. But in the sense of libtards and Democrats, it seems that they went so insane that it was quite easy calling out what was against common sense. But I would like to know what you think about all this in the comments. So going back to the live chat, this is one of my of the most important takeaways from any topic that we touch here, in which, okay, what is the takeaway? What is the takeaway? Again, sometimes you can say, oh, are you defending the indefendable? Are you defending Hugo Chavez? No, I still despise the guy. But if the guy said something that made sense, as in, yes, sometimes the last resort of the population is violence, is an uprising, is an uprising with the guns, when so be it. That's one of the things that there's opposition right now is not seeing, and I know that a lot of people could criticize me, but I call that out. I promise you to try to explain the Venezuelan situation. Maybe I would do it in one of these shows, because it's important to understand what is the current situation and why we are in this. But it's still a stalemate. It's still a narco tyranny, and no, it's we are not going out of that anytime soon. So, but some things can change in the world, and we need to focus on the things that we can change. And in regards to the Russia-Ukraine war, it seems that they are getting to an agreement. They met in Riyadh. The United States and Russia were in talks in Riyadh. Marco Rubio was there. Russia-U.S. talks in Riyadh commenced. This is from MFA Russia, and we got some words from Marco Rubio as well, because everybody wants this to end except for Zelensky for some reason. And we are going to be talking about Zelensky, that was not here, by the way. And he was really offended. He claims to be offended. Zelensky claims to be offended that Trump spoke to Putin first before that talking to him. You remember that Trump met Zelensky a long time ago, months ago, before Trump was inaugurated. You remember that? Doesn't that count for that midget? I mean, why Zelensky doesn't count that as, sitting down and speaking to him and let's get this sorted out. That part I did not understand. Secretary Rubio, for 3.5 years while this conflict has raged, let's listen to his words.
For
himself.
3.5 years while this conflict has raged, or 3 years while it's raged, no one else has been able to bring something together like what we saw today, because Donald Trump is the only leader in the world that can. So no one is being sidelined here. But President Trump is in a position that he campaigned on to initiate a process that could bring about an end to this conflict. And from that could emerge some very positive things for the United States, for Europe, for Ukraine, for the world. But first it begins by the end of this conflict. And so the only thing President Trump's trying to do is bring about peace. It's what he campaigned on. It's something the world should be thanking President Trump for doing. He's been able to achieve what for 2.5, 3 years, no one else has been able to achieve, which is to begin this process, a serious process. Obviously, a lot of work remains before we have a result.
I have certain reservations when Marco Rubio speaks only with his right hand over the table and keeps the other hand under the table. But let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Some people are saying that it's only that Trump is caving into his Russian puppet masters. You know that the Russia hoax is still going strong. And Trump is essentially just giving Putin all that he wants. We're going to be talking about that in a moment. But also, Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov says negotiations with the United States and Saudi Arabia were a success. And that must have put Zelensky really, really mad.
Well, to prevent any attempts to disrupt this resumption of relationships between Russia and the US, we need to continue. And after this meeting, I can say that it's been quite a success. The conceptual approach to further steps, it was laid down by the presidents during their phone call, and we felt great attitude and willingness of our American counterparts to push this forward actively, and we're going to do the same.
So there's a comment by Veronica, who is from Ukraine, and she knows the stuff. Zelensky should be offended that he never tried to negotiate peace for his own people on his own, which was the reason he was elected. The war started in 2014 in the East, by the way. It's 10 effing years so far, and still, what is Zelensky focused in? I found this meme really funny, by the way. I'm sorry, I always find memes. I need to share them with you. A suspicious individual was spotted at the table during the talks in Saudi Arabia. Who could it be? And, well, yes, I'm going to zoom in so you can... Yeah, he looks familiar. He looks familiar. I know that I've seen him somewhere, but I don't know. I don't know. It's like he rings familiar. I don't know, but I know that I've seen him. Also, Zelensky, I will never accept any decisions between the United States and Russia about Ukraine. Never. He will not accept those decisions. So then how are we going to get out of this? Without you, we need your support in all cases. We need you. Can this be done without Zelensky? Can this?
Thing that President Trump said this week. He did not say yes when he was asked if he sees Ukraine as an equal member in the peace process. He did say later that Ukraine would have a seat at the table. Have you been given any assurances that Ukraine will have an equal seat at the negotiating table?
So I will never accept any decisions between the United States and Russia about Ukraine.
That was not the question. He's giving an answer to a question that was not asked, just to make sure that you understand that he's deflecting.
Never, and our people, never, and our adults and children and everybody. It can't be so. This is the war in Ukraine against us, and it's our human losses. And we are thankful for all the support unity between USA, in USA, around Ukraine support, bipartisan unity, bipartisan support. We're thankful for all of this, but there is no any leader in the world who can really make a deal with Putin without us, about us.
Well, I don't know, but maybe if you're saying that Ukraine, you're saying that Ukraine should be independent, should be considered, right? But you were also desperate for Ukraine to be included in NATO as well. So I don't know which one is it, Zelensky. Which one of the two? You are completely independent and they cannot do anything without you, and you at the same time want to be part of the, you know, the adults dining table. Which one is it? Because I don't know. Those two arguments are more or less against each other. Of course, there are people, I'm telling you, that discuss, that argue against what the United States are doing. Jay in Kiev says that after a 3-hour humiliation session for Trump's envoy in Saudi Arabia, Russia laid the foundation to get everything Putin wants. Again, an opinion. EU will not be at the upcoming negotiations on Ukraine. Its role is excluded. Russian Foreign Ministry. If Europe wants to contribute to the establishment of peace in Ukraine, it is necessary to stop arms supplies to Kyiv. And what is Europe thinking? What do you think is Europe thinking? Well, Sir Keir Starmer and Emmanuel Macron want to play tough guy and threaten to deploy troops here and there. It's not like threaten. Keir Starmer has actually said that he is going to deploy troops if necessary. Breaking. British PM Keir Starmer says a U.S. security guarantee is the only way to effectively deter Russia from attacking Ukraine again. But the U.S. is trying to negotiate. How much money, how much more blood do you want to spill? He will deploy UK troops to Ukraine only if there is a U.S. backstop to a peace agreement. The United States is pushing for a peace agreement. That is, we have to recognize the new era we are in. Good luck. Good luck, dude. Good luck with that.
On defence, it's clear the US is not going to leave NATO. But
you want to bet?
We Europeans will have to do more.
All right. You could start with your country. That would help.
The issue of burden sharing is not new, but it is now pressing. And Europeans will have to step up, both in terms of spending and the capabilities that we provide.
Spending. More of your money is going to go for Ukraine.
On Ukraine, we're at the very early stage of the process. Europe must play its role. And I'm prepared to consider committing British forces on the ground,
all right,
alongside others, if there is a lasting peace agreement. But there must be a US backstop, because a US security guarantee is the only way to effectively deter Russia from attacking Ukraine again.
Well, at least he is acknowledging that it's the United States the one who has to step in to, well, do the thing. Why didn't he say that when Biden was in charge? This is my question. Why didn't he press on Biden to do this? I mean, it was like 3.5 years or something like that. But Biden added. Why didn't they press on Biden to do this? It is my question.
So I will go to Washington next week to meet President Trump.
Oh, I want to analyze that. I will be analyzing that. Body language analysis coming.
And to discuss what we see as the key elements of a lasting peace. I spoke to President Zelensky on Friday, and will do so again in coming days. And we envisage a further meeting with European colleagues when I return from the US. In this moment, we have to recognise the new era that we are in, not cling hopelessly to the comforts of the past. It's time for us to take responsibility for our security, for our continent. And I've been clear today, Britain will take a leading responsibility, as we always have, because Ukraine must have a secure future, Europe must have a secure future, Britain must have a secure future, and democratic values must prevail.
Yeah, you know, the same democratic values such as free speech and, well, make your citizens secure, that when J.D. Vance called you out on the world stage, you were just crying. Well, to be fair, it was not the British who were crying, but they were complaining, but not crying. But still, this is a mishmash of intentions in which you realize that all that they claim, both Europe and the UK, they could have done under the Biden administration, and for some reason they didn't. They didn't want to push Biden onto this because they know it. Everybody knows that Biden was part of this warmongering machine, that was money printing machine as well. You know that all these industries that create weapons, they were getting all this ordnance and steel, and they needed to do something with the things that go boom and pew pew. So it needed to start a war somewhere, this case by proxy. But that's a bit complicated. We expect to see an end to this war really soon, and I will be there to cover it. But I would like to know what you think about this in the comments. For some of you, Starmer's voice make you ill, it seems. It can be quite upsetting. And we're going to see another British guy that it could be quite upsetting. But in this case, we are not going to see the guy himself, but his show. You know that I'm not that keen of including Piers Morgan's show on my show, because I really don't endorse the guy. But in this case, well, he had a panel talking about COVID, talking about the pandemic, and talking about the reaction to the pandemic. And it was Dr. Birx. You remember Dr. Birx? This lady that was quite controversial as well, when she had some words about what was the actual, or what really happened behind closed doors. And I can understand that Brian Johnson was there, the Don't Die guy. I don't know what Grant Cardone was doing there, but well, I don't know. But I want to talk about what Dr. Birx said regarding the vaccines. Now, Birx is throwing more health officials under the bus, claiming the vaccine rollout also ignored the science. This is something that I have told you many times. This is also something that I was criticized back in 2020 about that it doesn't make sense, and about all those lies that it was going to stop the spread. False, that doesn't work like that. She stated that the mRNA jab was developed to target those at high risk of severe illness. That makes sense. Not specifically the general population. That would make sense. You create something for the one who are most vulnerable, but not for the general population, because it's well, I'm going to continue. The messenger RNA vaccine should have been rolled out for the people that were at risk for severe disease, because that's what the vaccine was developed for, Birx said. Okay. I wouldn't blame her if she didn't know that at the time. I don't have records of she knowing or not knowing. There was a lot kept under wraps back then. You know that there's so many reasons why Biden pardoned Fauci, or pre-pardoned Fauci, just in case anything happened after January 1st, 2014. And she also confessed the COVID shot was never designed, quote unquote, to prevent infection. Yeah, because anybody with half a brain and 15 minutes to search on YouTube and on Google, the technology, you would realize that that's not how those vaccines work. Okay, they could work against COVID itself, but don't tell me that the vaccines do something that they don't do, because that is going to make everybody doubt that these things actually do what they do, besides the obvious conflict of interest with Big Pharma. That is not what the COVID vaccine was designed to do. It wasn't designed against infection. Now she tells us, and I'm going to tell you, she already knew back then. But she didn't say anything about that because she didn't want to lose her job. How many people lost their jobs because of that? How many people risked everything because of that? How many people put something experimental inside them for no particular reason? Something that was made, it makes sense. For people at high risk, when you're at high risk and you have the option between being dead and having an experimental treatment, you absolutely will go for the experimental treatment. That makes sense. That is common sense. I mean, the other option is that you get any disease. For example, you get any disease and you are in a risk group and you die. No, but well, I prefer to go for the experimental thing. It's like this guy who was transplanted like some sort of a chimera kidney. It was a blend between a human and pig kidney. This is my understanding that it went well. Okay, that is a last resort thing until we can 3D print full organs, which that will be just awesome. Imagine that you need an organ for transplant and you don't have to wait in line for somebody else's organ, but you can 3D print your own organ with your own DNA and a brand new liver or a brand new kidney for you and be implanted into you, and it works flawlessly, and you don't have to you won't even need retrovirals for that. That would be awesome. But again, as everything in medicine, you have to extensively test things. And that's one of the things that RFK Jr. wants to make sure that, okay, we can have vaccines, but we want to make sure that all of them are as safe as possible. No treatment, even antibiotics. I always mention antibiotics. No treatment is 100% safe. But what is the other option? It's like when it boils down to it, like everything can be a poison, but you want to make sure that the right dose of poison sometimes can be beneficial to you, like drugs, right? Like that's why we call them drugs. But let's watch this, and you get to your conclusion by yourself.
He made it very clear to every mom out there that his children were immunized about childhood vaccines.
Yeah.
And what we've done wrong in public health is we didn't explain that COVID vaccines were nothing like the childhood vaccines, and that the childhood vaccines, like many of the diseases, you get it once, you don't get it again. And this is getting the children to have that disease without getting the deadly consequences. That is not what the COVID vaccine was designed to do. It wasn't designed to prevent against infection. And if you look at the vaccine hesitancy rates, they've doubled since COVID. So we have to start addressing these things.
That is something that I think was really stupid on all this government's part. You didn't think that openly lying to the public about something that in the future could actually be good. I mean, you know me, you already know my stance. I am up for everything in regards to advanced science and medical tech of any kind, including mRNA vaccines, if you can make them safe enough to actually not be experimental. But by lying to the public, then you have induced a vaccine hesitancy that can be actually dangerous. That is not the idea behind that. That's not the idea, because there are actual treatments. I cannot talk, you know that I'm very private about my personal life, but I can tell you there are things in my life that, thanks to vaccines, not the COVID vaccines, other kinds of vaccines have, let's say that turn out for the better or great or awesome. Maybe at some point I will tell the whole story. But yes, that's what these advances are for. And if you begin to lie just to push something that people didn't really need, some people didn't really need it at that moment, then that's what you're going to get. Backlash. vaccine hesitancy, which is really bad because it's gonna take a lot to take that away from people, because people don't. It's logical that people don't trust governments anymore, and trust in doctors is at all-time low. It is a normal byproduct of lying to the public.
Can't just ignore
and Deborah,
them.
let me ask you, Deborah. I mean, given that you were the face of COVID from the Trump presidency at the time, do you share this doctor who I was with? Do you share the concerns about the longer-term negative impact of some of the COVID vaccines?
The messenger RNA vaccine should have been rolled out for the people that were at risk for severe disease, because that's what the vaccine was developed for. But when we say that we're following the science and the data, we need to follow the science and the data. And the science and the data said people primarily over 65 or people with significant comorbidities were at risk for severe disease. Those are the individuals that should have been immunized first. And we should have put our science behind our immunization schedule and protected those most at risk. It went into young people in hospitals before it went into our elderly in nursing homes. That is not following the science and the data.
No, that is following the line in the pockets of big pharma. There was a big business. Big business.
I am all for following the science and the data, but it shouldn't just be a statement. It should be a reality. And when we don't match what we do in public health to the science and the data, that is when we get into trouble. And that's when we start to fracture trust with the American people.
You know, this is the same example as with Mark Zuckerberg. This is the same example as with Linda Lee. It is the same example of all these people that want to retcon. You remember that term from pop culture when you have a new series of a Star Trek, for example, and they try to retcon the lore of a Star Trek or retcon the lore of Star Wars. Essentially rewrite history. Like, no, we never said that, or at least I never said that. She was responsible for that as well. She had the knowledge, and she had the outreach, and she had the influence, and she had the position to speak on behalf of that all the way back in 2020, and she didn't. So this is the kind of things that, of course, upset me, because they want to, this is, with the benefit of hindsight, yeah, we shouldn't have done that back then because it was not designed for that. And you 100% knew that, because us regular citizens, we didn't even have artificial intelligence to help us do a Google search. We did a Google search, we ran the numbers, and we realized, no, this is a lie. This is something that, this is not designed for the general public. This is not designed to what they claim for, to stop the spread. No, that doesn't work like that. So many people were fooled into taking that under that pretense. And again, I have to say, if you talk about people with a high risk of dying if they get COVID, then absolutely 100% deliver the vaccines to them. That it could work for them. It could, between dying and whatever the experimental vaccine can do to you, it's better to take the vaccine. Go for it. We have to talk about common sense. We have to talk about statistics. But this is not the way. That's why we have to call out these people that had seemed to, all of a sudden, years after the fact, yeah, you know what, what a coincidence. What a coincidence that Trump assumes office, that Biden pardons Fauci, that everybody knows that all these things are going to surface, not only USAID, not only, everything is going to surface. And, well, I guess that they are scrambling to do the corresponding PR run because they don't want to people to realize that that Dr. Birx effectively had the position back then, had the influence, had the possibility, had the knowledge, had everything to speak this same thing. No, that doesn't make sense. none of that makes sense. This that she's talking about, these words, she could have said in 2020, and she decided not to speak out. So you tell me how can we judge her? You tell me in the comments. Let me know what do you think about this in the comments. Yeah, now they are coming out of the woodwork, Peg. It was not Peg. It was it is your mom. They are all coming out of the woodwork. All of those who have not been pardoned, if they want to, wash their faces. It's like that. Save face. I want to save face in some way. She was outruled on the vaccines. Do you think CDC would have listened to her? Not CDC, but the general public would have listened to her. This is remember that you sometimes don't need the big players to listen to you, but you can go to the public. Twitter. Oh yeah, okay. I remember that Twitter was censoring. Oh yes, was censoring people. And the media was censoring people, and Mark Zuckerberg's Meta was censoring people, both on Facebook and Instagram. Oh, well, now I think of it, and YouTube, I'm pretty sure that YouTube is gonna put a big question mark or whatever, a signal, and make sure that you get your vaccine information from trusted sources and not from this guy, this Latino. Ricardo Montalban impersonator, but to go for the trusted sources, follow the science. Now that you think of it, well, it would have been a bit difficult for her to be heard. And if we are talking about 2020, boy, yeah. Well, I don't know. I give her the benefit of the doubt, but I still think that she could have spoken. And set the record straight. I think that she could have set the record straight. But insanity, oh my God, we're gonna jump into this. Complete, absolute craziness. How to call this? We're gonna jump into. Let me see if this is the right order of today's show. This is the right order of today's show. Let me see. Yes, pretty much. Pretty much this is the right order of today's show. So I'm gonna mention, it's because something I'm gonna mention right here. Okay, well, let's talk about this. This next topic is a bit dense. You know that maybe you have heard, especially if you are an ex, that Elon Musk happens to have another baby, mystery baby in this case, and it's a mystery because there's some things that don't fit. The baby pretty much exists. Okay, it's not like some other babies in the media that. Might or might not exist. It seems that this baby does exist, right? I hope that is healthy. That is, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl. That I really don't care. But there are some circumstances about this latest attempt at Elon of repopulation of planet Earth. In this case was Ashley St. Clair. Ashley St. Clair, for those of you who are not aware, she is a conservative commentator. I think that is the way that we can define her. I really don't. I used to follow her at some point. I stopped following her a long time ago. No hard feelings, no big deal. I usually cool or clean up my following. If I see people saying the same things, then I just go for the source. But then she went for this on February 15. It's important the date. It was on February 15, she went all out and revealed 5 months ago, I welcome a new baby into the world. Elon Musk is the father. I have not previously disclosed this to protect our child's privacy and safety, but in recent days it has become clear that tabloid media intends to do so regardless of the harm it will cause. All right. I intend to allow our child to grow in a normal and safe environment. For that reason, I ask that the media honor our child's privacy. We have heard that. We have heard that. We have heard that before, right? Privacy, and refrain from invasive reporting. But at the same time that she says, I ask that the media honor our child's privacy and refrain from invasive reporting. And you can imagine, I don't know if she's got a Valley girl accent or something at like our Duchess of Sausages that also wants privacy. But not even 24 hours after this, not even 24 hours after this, she was on the New York Post talking about all this. So what kind of privacy is that? Is this another worldwide privacy tour? You want privacy for you and your child, and the first thing you do after the announcement is that you go full New York Post with, pictures and all, okay? For your fans that, I guess you have fans that like feed pics or something, and Ashley St. Clair feels jilted and terrified after Elon Musk refused to protect her, Paul says. So this is hearsay, because we have hearsay in the title, but it was actually an interview of her with her pictures. Why does this feel like one big psyop? As Tara Bull says. Again, it is not my problem. What does Elon does with his intention of repopulating Earth? That is not my problem. Again, I hope that the kid or girl is healthy. Every child that is brought to this world is a blessing. That is my thinking. I have some qualms. I have some, let's say, I don't think that Ashley St. Clair is a single mother per se, because I don't think that she's going to be on her own. But we know how busy can Elon be. So this is a bit complicated, and it gets more complicated. Ashley St. Clair on her worldwide privacy tour after her Scorn Baby Bama trick didn't get Elon's attention. What is Scorn Baby Bama trick? Well, there's a couple things in here. And Colonel Kurtz, big shout out to Colonel Kurtz, who is covering this. Nothing says, I'm a serious woman, not some hoe, but also I'm still sexy if any other billionaire wants to have, the horizontal mambo with me, like a see-through black corset bra thing under a tailored black jacket. Yeah, this is her. Okay, for the New York Post, less than 24 hours after her "leave me alone, we want some privacy" thing. So this is what I'm telling you. This is, God's sake. Ashley St. Clair, influencer who claims to have had Musk's 13th child, reveals life of secrecy after whirlwind romance with down-to-earth billionaire. Just for the record, which I don't know if you find that interesting or I don't know, quick or something. Most of Elon Musk's babies or sons and daughters have born through IVF, in vitro fertilization. It's IVF, okay? This is through IVF, in vitro. It was very tragic that he lost his first son to SIDS, to sudden infant death syndrome, when his first child, Nevada, was only 10 weeks old. So he made sure to do the IVF2 scan for anything genetic. We still don't know. It's not my problem. That is really not my problem. If they actually did the horizontal mambo, or if this was via IVF. But the problem is, I'm highlighting this because I want to highlight the similarities with a certain duchess that we used to talk in this channel and in my Royal Rogue channel. Why? Well, this is another remark by Colonel Kurtz. Ashley St. Clair really thinks posing with a chessboard is really gonna make her seem like a sophisticated intellectual. Like a sophisticated intellectual. Girl, I know you're trying to compete with Neuralink exec Siobhan, but the tacky chessboard photo ain't gonna do it. And what is that? Is that I'm going to jump it right here. I'm gonna go ahead a bit ahead of myself, because the explanation is well, this was on February 13. February 13, the day before Valentine's Day. Elon Musk and one of his baby mamas, remember that Elon Musk is not married, Siobhan Zilis and their kids visit the White House today. So they spent February 13, 2 days before Ashley St. Clair's notification that she wanted privacy. They were at the White House. He was with little X, you remember, and they were spending time with Modi, the Prime Minister of India. People are saying, this was the best remark that I could find from PsyOp Connoisseur, Pineapple Brigade. My Elon, Ashley St. Clair speculation, and I mostly agree with this, is Siobhan was Elon's chosen Valentine. She brought her to the White House. Imagine that Ashley St. Clair wanted her to be brought to the White House, but no, she was not. Siobhan was also with Elon during his White House meeting with Modi. Ashley couldn't handle it and made the baby announcement on February 15. Classic love triangle stuff. And you know that she was she wanted all the privacy that she began tagging Elon publicly on X. Elon, we have been trying to communicate for the past several days and you have not responded. When are you going to reply to us instead of publicly responding to smears from an individual who just posted photos of me in underwear when I was a teenager? I mean, this was insane. My guess is that Ashley really thought that she was going to be, you know, the one. I am going to be the one to, I am the one. Even if she was, you know, really clear about what was this about, because, you know, that back in 2020, we got this thanks to Griselle 245. Somebody said, I need to get Elon Musk's attention for a marriage proposal, please, Greg. And Greg Price said, he's got a kid with a woman already. Seems unlikely to work out. And Ashley St. Clair said, back in 2020, well, he actually has 7 kids and goes through women pretty fast. So she was already on the prowl. And again, the Siobhan theory makes a lot of sense because, well, we got these screenshots of both Elon Musk, Siobhan Zilis sharing a picture with her 2 kids with Elon, and Maggie Musk, Elon Musk's mother, putting all hearts, and Elon answering with a lovely heart. We don't know when next time, but this was these days. So our theory is that Ashley St. Clair was just jealous. I'm gonna leave this for the ad. And she couldn't stand what was going on. One thing that I noticed, I'm just going to do a passing reference to this, is that when she shared this, I asked that the media honor our child's privacy and refrain from invasive reporting. She made sure to leave a link if you wanted for any media inquiries. I mean, if you want privacy, actual privacy, why would you leave a name, a company, and an email to reach out for media inquiries? This is the most Meghan Markle stuff. Even Meghan Markle, it isn't as obvious as this. I mean, you want privacy, you just put that in and leave it like that. No, she in the same notification, she leaves an email in case you want to reach out to her for, elaborate. Well, how does it work? You understand the dissonance between the two things? I want privacy, but after three numeral things, you include your representative Brian Glicklich, and said Brian Glicklich, he answered as well. Where's him? He said, Ashley St. Clair is a woman of tremendous integrity. Well, I am going to go out on a limb in here, and having a baby that way, I wouldn't criticize her. Like women can do whatever they want. She's a grown up. Elon Musk is a grown up. They can do whatever they please, but let's not throw that work integrity as that loose. It's a bit loose. It's a woman of tremendous integrity. No, bro. Committed to protecting her family. This reasonable request should be honored by media, but I will make sure to appear on the New York Post in a tell-all story. I mean, this is one thing is we can learn from this. One thing we can learn from this. You can be the richest man in the world. You can be the richest man in the world. But even being the richest man in the world, you have to follow one of the most important rules that every man in this world has to follow. That if you're willing to stick your dick in crazy, you have to assume the consequences of sticking your dick into crazy. It's that simple. It's cause and effect. He studied physics. It's physics. It's cause and effect. It's like Newton's laws. All right? And you have to be aware, even if you have Asperger's or whatever Elon Musk has, that, well, you can have an AI to analyze somebody's, let's say, timeline to say in the matrix of hot and crazy matrix, you remember the hot and crazy matrix, how crazy is the lady that you're getting into, right? Literally. So, and all this innuendos and all that stuff publicly. That's, you have to understand that. You have to be clear about that. I guess I'm okay with your intention of the repopulation thing, of making sure that you have enough kids to have your own. Well, how many kids? It has his own soccer team by this point. And now, there's something that has to be said. In defense of Elon Musk. There's something that has to be said. And something that most men in this world are aware of. That crazy, you know what I'm talking about when I say crazy. Crazy women are a hell of a drug. It's this, and when you remember which other crazy lady Elon Musk got, went what is that? Third base, fourth base? How do you say that? Amber Heard. So you know that Elon likes them really batshit, insane, crazy. So it's not a design flaw. It's like he's like that. He likes that kind of stuff. He likes that kind of stuff. So you have to deal with the consequences. it's strange that he didn't have a kid with Amber. But I mean, they could have a kid, because why not? But I rest my case. If you do the horizontal mambo with crazy, be ready for the consequences. And it's like the FAFO matrix. Is they fuck around, find out. It's like literally fuck around, find out, as in the literal sense of the world. But again, it's this was, I forgot. I almost forgot. I told you that I needed to save something for the end. It's quite ironic that she tweeted in 2022, Kamala can't help herself from bending over for a man to get ahead. Man, this is the problem of Twitter. This is the problem of Twitter, of X, that, yeah, you should check your own tweets from time to time and make sure what did you tweet, because they're gonna go back. People, again, it's everything only just a very quick search away. Calling Kamala a hoe when you shagged Elon Musk of all people is hilarious. And also this, from August 2023, Vivek just called out the system for financially incentivizing single motherhood. And this is one of the things that happens with, I really don't have problems when people exercise their, do things, okay? You're an adult. You are a consensual adult. You can do whatever you please. Many conservatives were criticizing her for having a kid. Is it right to have a kid out of wedlock? Well, I have my observations about this. In my opinion, it's critical that every kid has a mother and a father. More than an opinion, that is a fact. That's something that every single child needs. That is, there's no difference. And we know that, well, Elon Musk is a bit, let's say, busy. And at least he spends a lot of time with little X, or at least that's what it looks to us. But I think that every child deserves to have a father and a mother. That's something that sometimes doesn't happen. I know that sometimes mothers have to raise children on their own. Some single mothers do an awesome job at it. Statistics say that it is very hard indeed, that it would be great if every woman was had actual integrity and every man had actual integrity, and that would make a family with integrity. That doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes you have to rise. Sometimes you are a man who has to raise your children on your own. But sometimes you cannot have the ideal circumstances. But if you are going to assume the responsibility of your actions, try not to be so whiny about it, because, well, that doesn't look good. If you want privacy, if you want actual privacy for your kid, try your actions to follow your words, because if not, you're just another hypocrite. But I would like to know what you think about this in the comments. I have to go back to this. Christy Colonel. Oh my God, I have a meme. I have a meme about this. I think I have a meme about this. I need to look for that meme before we move on. I have I don't know if I recorded that meme or if I have it in my bookmarks. I know I lost it, but I think I have that. Oh yeah, I have it right. I have it right here. I'm gonna have a meme that you absolutely need to watch. You absolutely need to watch that meme, because that remind me of this. Oh, this is a thing. this meme. I have a folder on my phone for this kind of stuff of gifs, of memes and stuff. And the gospel according to this guy, chapter 1, from the streets did she emerge, and to the streets she will return. And I say unto you, she is for the streets. So be not weary when she must return from whence she came. Oh my God! There you. I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna leave there. If you want to make a screenshot, here, screenshot that if you want and get it, because it is very hard to find. This kind of memes is very hard to find. I have my, maybe at some point we can go through my meme folder that is legendary triple S tier memes. So yes, there's a yeah, there's it's like our future has like 10 baby mamas. Yeah, that's part of the meme itself. So you know that I sometimes don't like to talk about gossip because oh my God, this is why are people so invested in this? But I wanted to highlight what I wanted to highlight with the Elon Musk, Ashley Sinclair baby, is that Elon hasn't said anything about that. By the way, I forgot to mention that Elon hasn't said anything about the baby, has confirmed or denied anything. Is the hypocrisy of the I want privacy and she's on her worldwide privacy tour. It's like 100%, Meghan Markle stuff. As in, leave us alone, we want privacy, but yeah, let me deal with that. At least we have Meghan's Instagram right now. She came out of the privacy closet. We got Meghan out of the privacy closet, so we will have a lot of content for the Royal Rogue every day from now for forever, because, well, now it's the real Meghan. I am realizing that I was the body language guy. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm just realizing. I'm just realizing I was the body language guy, and I switched to my own name, Jesus Enrique Rosas, my channel. And Meghan was all about Archwell and, you know, American Rivera Horchard. And she then released an Instagram on her name, Meghan. Oh, that is such a distinction, knowing that I inspire the Duchess of Sausages to do that kind of stuff that brings a tear to my left eye. Like, left eye, go. That's yeah. It's almost touches it breaks my voice for a minute. It's so great to know that I inspired Meghan to use her own name, to use her own voice. You go, girl. Yeah, I'm going to use you, or you're gonna use your content for real. I'm gonna use your content for real. But because before we talk about Meghan, there's another topic in here that I wanted to address. There's a conversation, the kind of videos that I see trending, that everybody's are talking about these videos. In this case, is about this guy, Trevor Noah, one of these talk show hosts. They were talking about segregation, and I haven't watched the video, and I'm going to react live to that here on my show. We're going to react live to this to see what is this about. And again, I haven't watched the video. You're going to see the synchronicities are uncanny, Veronica. We're going to watch this video to see what they're talking about, and because this is about disturbing, because this can sound a bit odd, but we are about to witness. So, show host Trevor Noah and Princeton professor Ruha Benjamin suggest that segregation should be reintegrated into American schools. I repeat, this is not a drill. Segregation should be reintegrated into American schools. Says integration was not, quote unquote, the right solution. I mean, this sounds interesting, at least. This piques my curiosity. I just want to, I want to listen to their words, so I don't discard this only because I read a headline. This is something that I tell you. Common sense and critical thinking requires that you listen to the words, go to the actual source, and just don't stop or react on your first reaction when you read something. Noah, I would love to know if you think integration was the right solution. And the professor of Princeton, Ruha Benjamin, says, no, I don't. When you're being integrated into institutions, into a culture that is a supremacist culture, why are we being integrated into that? Okay, let's listen to this, because this sounds exactly right. Up my alley is that is expression, right? Up my alley. It sounds a bit odd, but I don't know if I'm messing things up. But whatever.
I found myself wondering, and this applies to America, and then maybe it'll go to other places in a different way, because
but this already has subtitles. I can discard mine.
Finland ties in. Do you think that integration was the right move? And now I'm separating two things, because I know in America people are like, well, of course, I mean, there was racism and there was segregation, and I go, yeah, no,
You remember, right? White restrooms, color restrooms, like that was the separation, and that was the segregation that was back then, and the integration was essentially that there was, America became essentially colorblind.
Separating them. Let's separate someone being oppressed and someone not being able to get a job and someone not being able to get a bank loan. Let's take all of those, the negative things away, because I'll put myself out personally and say, I think whether we're talking about gifted kids who are anomalous, let's say, to the norm, whether we are talking about, and I mean anything that does not fit into a category, I think part of the reason Finland is able to do it is because, have you been to Finland?
It's very homogeneous.
I've been to Finland. You know who's in Finland? Finnish people. That's it.
Yeah, it's I don't know what is the point that he wants to make about Finland, because Finland is quite homogeneous, Finnish people. But he also talked about one thing that is that is quite interesting, which is people with special abilities, so with high capacity, with high IQ, in which the integration of those kids, for example, in the same classrooms of kids that have let's say the standard IQ is let's say most of the time is not the best idea. Sometimes you should have the ability to be able to kids who are special, in the sense that they are really high IQ, to be able to fast track them into their abilities, because that's how you discover really quickly geniuses like engineers or scientists, and that's something that should be done. In that case, integration. You cannot segregate any kid either if they have high capacity or if they are below capacity, if they have some learning difficulties. No. You cannot put anybody outside the same. You have to put everybody in the same classroom. It's not the same idea, because some kids have actual difficulties in learning, and they have they need a special treatment. There's a reality, and those who can fast track into being engineers at, I don't know, age 12, they absolutely should be able to do that at the same time. That is a part that I want to. That's part of a bigger conversation. I don't know if that is the point that he wants to make, but he wants to make the point about color, of course, which is not something that should be intrinsically that would distinguish people in the segregation. And it's why we can understand that differences in the speed at which we learn, our interest, for example. Like I was one of the worst students in high school. I was bad in high school. It was bad. I barely made it through high school. I really hated it. But well, you know how it's like the way that I thought was education. But not the point. Let's continue with this.
That's it. And because they're all finished, there's an idea of like, no, we all head in the same direction.
Mm-hmm.
We all know what our actions mean. And that's a really powerful thing I've learned in communicating with other people. When I'm in a room with anyone where we start to tie together multiple things. So if I'm in a room with Black people, already there's like an implicit trust because we know what certain actions, words, and vibes mean. And then you're in a room with another African. Already. Now, even if you shout at me, I know what your shout means. The same way an Italian knows what an Italian shout means.
Yeah.
Right? I know
You haven't been shouted out by a Venezuelan properly. I see.
I'm prefacing it with a lot because it's a loaded question.
Yes.
But I would love to know if you think integration was the right solution, maybe.
I mean, my question is, I remember the 90s. You remember that I told you that in the 90s I really wanted to live in the United States. I really wanted to become an American citizen. I loved everything that was a high trust society. And I remember back in the day, I saw, on TV shows and movies and listening to music, everything was American to me. And at no point I saw any sort of that Black people were marginalized in any way. You could be a successful musician, you could be a successful NBA player, you could be a successful actor, you could be a successful entrepreneur, you could be a successful anybody in America. And I didn't even see that because I saw that anybody of any skin color I didn't realize, I didn't even see that. I am in retrospective trying to analyze, and no, I never thought of that. I saw, for example, I could remember from back in the day, of course, Will Smith and The Fresh Prince. I love the series. I remember MC Hammer from the music industry. I remember Charles Barkley, Michael Jordan. You could be Black and extremely successful. Whitney Houston, one of the greatest singers of that time. I mean, it's and you could have, of course, very successful white people. Michael Jackson was a bit confusing to me, but I learned about vitiligo and then it stopped being confusing. It's just a joke. But it's like it wasn't that distinction back then, or at least I could say that from my maybe a limited perspective, but it was a fact that in the United States in the 90s, anybody could make it. Anybody. Okay? Even an Austrian, coming from Austria, in the movies, with an accent and all that, in the Eagle Bay. So he could even marry into the Kennedy family. Anybody could make it in the United States. So why is this discussion right now? This doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense to me. I think one of the worst things that Obama could do was to make sure that there was this division again. Because again, chaos and division helps any government, any power to stay in power. Because then you don't have the social classes of the Marxist social classes, because the internet has leveled the entrepreneur field. Anybody can access to any education on YouTube. YouTube is for free, and you can go to a library and go watch YouTube videos and learn things in YouTube videos for free, and even start a company, and start a drop shipping business, and start anything for free. And they needed to, let's make up a new kind of a struggle. First with racism, this renewal of racism, and all the gender wars. Again, I'm speaking from an outside perspective, but even as an outsider, it's a fact that you can make it in the United States if it, no matter who you are, it's literally no matter who you are. So we continue.
On the other side of what America of civil rights.
Yeah, no, I don't, and I don't think it's actually that.
She says that integration was not a good idea. That segregation should have continued.
That controversial when if you understand that segregation and integration weren't the only options. Like those are within those two options, it may seem like integration is the more progressive. Like, of course, we don't want segregation. But again, when you're being integrated into institutions, into a culture that's a supremacist culture, that's a culture that feeds off of hierarchy, that feeds off of insecurity, anxiety, why are we being integrated into that?
No, I don't think that. I think they're making up things. I think that they are certainly making up things. I really miss the 80s for many reasons. By the way, today is episode 84, and 1984 and 1985 are perhaps one of my favorite years of the 80s. And but the 90s was the rise of 16-bit video games and all that. The rise of so many cool things, and I remember all that with this sort of hope. I had this hope. I have this like everything could be possible. It's 1991. I am in Venezuela, back in Venezuela, and I am enrolled in this intensive English course because back in 1989 I literally didn't know English at all. In 1991, I was hell bent on going to the United States, becoming an American citizen. Things didn't work out that way. I visited the United States a lot. I love many cities of the United States. Sadly, one of my favorite cities, which is San Francisco, is essentially destroyed. But I find it baffling how this people like Trevor Noah, which I can say he sounds like somebody who can hold a conversation. I've seen somebody. He's like a black Bill Maher. In the sense like Bill Maher. I am not a fan of Bill Maher, but I can know that sometimes Bill Maher say things like it is. Sometimes he can be really annoying. The same goes for Trevor Noah. You could say, oh, maybe when you disagree with them, no. Sometimes they just pretend that they don't know what they just pretend a feign insanity. They pretend to be insane, to not know. No, I always find that is bad faith. That you come in bad faith. But sadly, what we need more of is seeing the things for what they are. I mean, maybe you have suffered racism at some point. You feel that you have been unfairly treated. It can happen. I wouldn't say that there's zero racism in the United States, because I always say that we have to treat things in a case-by-case basis. And there are white supremacists in the United States. Of course there are. You can bump into white supremacists. If I bump into a white supremacist and he hears my Ricardo Montalban rich Corinthian leather accent, and he's gonna realize that I come from whatever is from the southern border downwards, and he comes from bring the guns. That's, no. It says he's gonna realize that I'm more Ricky Ricardo than any other thing. That can happen, but it's not the rule. There's not the rule. There's always going to be bad actors. There's always going to be bad people. There's always going to be people that want to separate others. There's always going to be people that want to cause division. But the thing is, how are we in any country, in this case the United States, how are we going to be stronger? United or separated? To which voices are we going to listen? To those who are hell-bent on saying that all this integration, we are integrated on this supremacist hierarchy? That is nonsense. Look back to the 90s and you will have your answer. But I would like to know what you think about this in the comments. So, Trevor is no one to give advice. He is just a struggling influencer at this point. I've seen so many people. Even I try to do that. I try to start my some sort of a podcast with interviews. I said that I thought that was not for me. I thought that my best way, the things that energize me, is to crack jokes about what is going on, try to analyze what is going on, try to add my best common sense possible. I try to be as commonsensical as possible. If that is not a word, I just made that up. To any takes that are happening in the world. Sometimes it's not easy, but I can understand that these people want to, okay, let's start a podcast. Maybe people can listen to me starting a podcast. The problem is that your podcast is only as good as the quality of your guests. That is the problem. Your podcast is only going to be as good as the quality of your guests and, of course, your ability of asking questions. Your ability with asking questions. That is something that is quite hard. Everybody is starting a podcast right now. I really try to make my shows more like an interaction with you instead of, let's say, if there are specialists out there, I can just go and clip their opinions and interviews and edit, and we can bring those specialists in here. So you don't need to listen to somebody for 1 or 2 hours about a certain topic. We can just be very succinct, make sure to not clip things out of context. Like we go to the source and we have a variety of angles to every topic. And so you can have like a better informed opinion about what is going on. And also a bit of entertainment. But I don't know, it's just something that I've given it much thought, and that's why, well, it has, I think that is one of the reasons why my show has been, has energized me. I think this is the most important thing. You would ask me right now, Jesus, it is too hard to make the show, and I would say, in fact, no, it is not hard to make the show. It's not hard for me at all. The hardest part is to nail the right, flow of topics, from the most pressing news politics to the most banal. We're going to be talking about Meghan right now. And that is the hardest part. Then, in general, you make this extremely easy, especially because you reach out to me and you tell me, Jesus, you absolutely have to talk about this. You absolutely have to talk about that. And also, the X algorithm helps me in the sense that when I see something trending, I just go for it. But you're reaching out to me and telling me, hey, Jesus, make sure that you cover this because it's important. That is really helpful. And right now, in the important area, we need to talk about Meghan's latest reel, Instagram reel. Again, it's for me, it's the best thing in the world. That don't forget a great voice, Jesus, Christy Cullen. You mean my voice? I've tried to make sure that both my voice and my impersonations. I sometimes thought that I should work on my impersonations. I don't work on my impersonations enough. I should work more of them. I have in all cases the Valley Girl, the Meghan Valley Girl. I have the Prince Harry that I've used a couple times. Pepe, Jesus, have you covered Milei and the meme coin? I already mentioned today's show, Pepe. I think it's why would you release a meme coin? Why would you release a meme coin if in 99% of circumstances people lose money? People that invest in meme coins lose money. It's no, it is something that I completely disagree on, and it backfired in Milei. Tough luck. Again, and I told you that I disagree with Trump and Melania issuing meme coins, but it's just my opinion. Just my opinion, but right now, it's time to give you my opinion about this reel that is setting the internet on fire. Meghan trying to be spontaneous about her new brand because she has ditched American Riviera Orchard, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure it was on trademark grounds because she couldn't get to trademark that just for the fact that he'd said American Riviera. That was hard enough. Oh well, currently on her Instagram, what an absolute load of bollocks, says Fi Button. Netflix is now her partner and it's huge. She thought about it first though, as if she would have nagged them to death. I don't know how Netflix went through this, but we're going to see, sure that this is the right size. Okay, we're gonna say this is what Meghan posted and how she wants to be seen as spontaneous about her brand. That her brand now is as ever, as with only one S, just in case you know my accent or my pronunciation or my way of saying the words can get in the way. As ever, what is that? I don't know, but
it's recording.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to let me put this smaller so it doesn't get captions don't get in the way, and you get the full frame of Meghan speaking to the camera without the the captions get in the much better right now. We can see Meghan. Oh, how lovely, Duchess of Sausages. Let's go.
It's recording.
Okay.
Cat's out of the bag. I'm shocked we've kept this a secret for so long.
This is a bit caught. Let me see. Make sure that you can see the full frame, and you can hear that Harry saying it's recording. Oh yeah, it's like it's this spontaneous video, and Harry's behind the camera at this time. And no, I don't think that Harry would be behind the camera. I think that Meghan was holding the camera herself, but Harry wouldn't know. Harry would be like filming her. Then Harry would be filming himself instead, like like people who have no idea what they are doing. But well, let's watch this. Kat is out of the bag. She wants to announce her brand. Let's watch the whole video and then we can comment afterwards. I think that is the best approach.
Cat's out of the bag. I'm shocked we've kept this a secret for so long. In 2 weeks, my show is coming out, which I'm so excited for. And also my business, which I think there's been a lot of curiosity about. Last year, I had thought, American Riviera, that sounds like such a great name. It's my neighborhood. It's a nickname for Santa Barbara. But it limited me to things that were just manufactured and grown in this area.
Sorry, I have to interrupt the Duchess. That's what attorneys are for, right? You know that you pay attorneys to consult them, and what do you think about this? How hard would it be to create a brand? Okay, let me talk to my trademarking friends, and we can talk about. Oh no, it's not a good idea. Come out with another thing. But we already know that she came all the way with that idea, quote unquote. She didn't consult with anybody, only to make any sort of noise over what was happening to Catherine. You remember that Catherine, the Princess of Wales, was in this announcement, what she was going through, and Meghan couldn't resist. I cannot resist. She occupying all these headlines. So I need to do something. And she launched her American Riviera Orchard brand because she couldn't resist. Yeah, you should have spoken to an attorney, Meghan. That would have solved a lot of issues.
Then Netflix came on, not just as my partner in the show, but as my partner in my business, which was huge. So I thought about it.
One thing that I'm going to suggest, when you are recording yourself, little Meg, you have to make sure it is much better if you try to use two things. You use some sort of selfie stick to make the camera a bit farther from you. It is even better if you use a vlogging camera. You can use a vlogging camera. Where's my vlogging camera? A camera like this. Okay, this is perhaps this is not an ad. This is one of the best vlogging cameras they are. This is a Sony This is Sony ZV-E10. This is a camera that I used to have here for another angle. This is one of the most popular vlogging cameras because you can use it to record yourself. Okay, you record yourself. That would help, and that would help to have a stabilizer so you don't have the camera going all around. But it's important that the camera is a bit farther from your face, because if you have the camera too close to your face, this is going to happen. Like your forehead is going to look, how does, like Trump says, huge. It's gonna be huge, and you don't want your forehead to look huge. You want your forehead to look like a normal human being, not like Megamind. No. You don't want to be the biracial Megamind. No. But this is what is going to happen. I'm going to mute this. I'm going to show you what is going on with Meghan. And yeah, it's this is the problem. Even the frame, even the eyes should be following the rule of thirds. Not even that. I don't know if this video was clipped. Perhaps it was clipped, but I'm seeing that, yeah, that is the frame. That is the frame. It is not working. It is not working. Again, I am going to be very clear about this. I'm going to be very clear, extremely clear about this. That is not Meghan's actual forehead size. She looks like Megamind. Yeah, she looks like Megamind, but it's because of bad use of a camera. You want to do something so spontaneous. I want to use my mobile phone because that is the spontaneous way to do things with your phone. So like this, like that. But no, that is you need art direction, Meghan. You suck at this. That's not a professional way of doing things. You can look better. This looks unpolished. This looks amateurish. This is not it. This is not it. This looks 2010C. This looks 2010C. And Lizzie B, you are spot on. I'm going to highlight your comment because this is spot on. I counted like 14 edits, more or less. Like, you couldn't even record a video in a single sequence. You had to make all those cuts, because you have to stop and start every single time. If you want something spontaneous, you record something from the beginning to end and you do various takes, and you do 20 takes. Yeah, why not? You have the time. Are you in a rush? Is somebody waiting for you? No, nobody's waiting for you. You have the time to do 20 takes for this. So a couple suggestions for you, Meghan. Get yourself a decent camera. Get yourself a decent, not a selfie stick, but a stabilizer. I don't have my, you have my stabilizer. I have my stabilizer in here. I have all my, oh yeah, I have my stabilizer in here as well. This is not for cameras, but this is something that I could lend this to you, Meghan. I haven't used this in like this stuff. Okay. This is stuff. This stuff that looks like some kind of sci-fi thing. You put on your mobile phone in here, and then it stabilizes your mobile phone so you can speak into that. Okay, you can hold it, and you can even attach something so your forehead doesn't look like the Green Lantern bad guy. I mean that movie was really bad, but I would still have nightmares with that villain. I forgot the name of that guy, by the way. How do you Okay, I forgot the way that I fold this. Let me put this away. Meghan, you're an amateur. What's going on? What's going on? You have so many people around you trying to, help you with this. I can't help but criticize you on this, because this is terrible. This is terrible. I mean, let's keep watching.
Curiosity about. Last year, I had thought, you know what, American Riviera, that sounds like such a great name. It's my neighborhood. It's a nickname for Santa Barbara. But it limited me to things that were just manufactured and grown in this area. Then Netflix came on, not just as my partner in the show, but as my partner in my business, which was huge. So I thought about it, and I've been waiting for a moment to share a name that I had secured in 2022, and this is the moment. And it's called As Ever. As Ever essentially means as it's always been.
Yeah, we got that. Even that English is my second language. I got that as well. But well, you do you, and yeah, you have to. Somebody pointed out that she always has to put her jewelry hand to her face, because that is like in her self-contract, her self-written contract. I have to merge my jewelry all the time. I need to merge my jewelry. As a full valley girl.
And if you followed me since 2014 with the TIG,
no, we didn't.
You know, I've always loved cooking and crafting and gardening. This is.
Yeah, no, we knew about the roasted chicken that you were making when Catherine and William came over to visit, and you were barefoot, getting the chicken out of the oven. I still, it's this kind of things that you remember for some reason. That is quite a first impression.
That's what I do, and I haven't been able to share it with you in the same way for the past few years, but now I can. So as things are starting to trickle out there, I wanted you to hear it from me first. Of course, there will be fruit preserves. I think we're all clear at this point that jam is my jam. But there's so many more products that I just love that I use in my home, and now it's time to share it with you. So I can't wait for you to see it. Thank you.
Now I really want to see the products. Well, why not? The jam is gonna be pushed. I was wrong. I have to acknowledge that I was wrong at some point. At some point I said there's no way that Netflix is gonna get into the jam business. Why would Netflix get into the jam business? But it so happens that Netflix is getting into the jam business. I was wrong. I'm the first to acknowledge I was wrong about this. I got that one wrong. You can put that in my wrong bucket. That came out really wrong, in fact. But well, whatever. But I remember that I thought that no, Netflix not in a million years was going to do this. But it so happens that it seems that it is a fact. Now, it is my understanding that the contract itself ends in September. It has been quite some time, right? That the contract was signed in September 2020. It's like that sounds like lives ago, like eons ago. So much has happened since 2020, for every single one of us, and sounds like those 5 years have been really long. But in this case, I'm still expecting to see what are they going to do with the cooking show. I am going to say something that might surprise some of you. I am willing to watch Meghan's cooking show with an open mind. I had an open mind for that dog shite mentory. It was worse than I thought. Was possible. But I don't know why I have the hunch that Meghan's cooking show is going to be at least passable. I mean, okay, you're gonna, oh, Jesus, you are went to the dark side. No, I want to be fair. You know, if you have been following the body language guy, if you have been following the Royal Road, you know that I always want to be fair. That's why you watch me, because you want my fair take. having watched the trailer, the Meghan stuff was a bit odd, but having watched the people who is behind this and seeing that Netflix even doubling down into investing in her brand, I have the hunch that her cooking show that you absolutely don't have to watch, I will watch it so you don't have to, is going to be passable. Even I will go as far as to say it could be good at times. Okay, just not because of Meghan, of course, but because the people who is behind the show have been doing a bit of research. Okay, this is that Netflix did not pull any punches. They did not cut any corners. They went all in on this. They 100% want this to work. So it is a possibility. I am approaching this with an open mind. This well, exactly as you're seeing in the comments. Some of you are commenting. This is 2010's inspiration. This is I am so spontaneous. I am with my white blouse. That is all this being pure and naive. And thank God it's not beige. There's something that we need to recognize, that Meghan did not go for beige. That is something. We know that the trailer is all beige. That is one thing, but at least this teaser that she did spontaneously is not a beige. But this is, I don't know how to say this. By God, this angle. It's the camera angle. I want to be fair. This is not. This is not. This is not Meghan. I know Meghan. I've analyzed Meghan. Meghan, this is not the way. You can do things better than this. The camera angle is so important. This is not it. This is not it. I'm going to say that. I'm going to be a gentleman and say, Meghan, this was wrong to be filmed like this. This was the wrong camera angle. It was the wrong way to approach this. You're trying to be natural, and you have like 14 edits, like cuts here and there from various angles, and it looks like a mess. It looks like a mess. Nope. That's all that I'm going to say. Also, that angle from under your face and your head cut. Again, I don't know if there's a bigger reel. Maybe the original reel is not cut. I'm gonna give her a pass on that one. But again, this is what happens. You see a neck that looks on one side. Okay, you see a neck on one side. When you add the mouth, you see that both the chin and the mouth are disproportionately bigger, and then the nose is even bigger compared to the neck, and then the eyes. No, this begins to distort the whole image because the camera is too close to your face. I'm going to just make that criticism and not be as hard on her. There are so many tools that you can use. Especially the tool that you married, but there's another kind of tool. But I don't know. I will still be looking out for all the shenanigans that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are up to the March 4th, right? March 4th, we're like 2 weeks away. And I would like to know what do you think about this in the comments. Hey, God. No. There are so many jokes out there. Let me see what else do we have for. Do you have another topic for today's show? I think we were done for today. I think we had a nice lineup. Most probably, I will keep doing this longish topics. I think it's a better way to being able to develop some topics, especially when we need the conversation. We need to talk about the common sense takes and the critical thinking. And why do I address most of the topics in here? My intention is to, well, make sure that we realize that all manipulation, that narcissists, that body language, and many other aspects of human behavior apply in the same circumstances, no matter if you are in the American Riviera or you're in Riyadh negotiating a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine, or you are asking for privacy and you go on the New York Post the following day, or if you try to, let's say, do some kind of damage control about what you didn't say about vaccines back in 2020, it's all related. And the idea behind this is to make sure to have a good time and also read your super chats that I haven't read your super chats. Some of you sent super chats earlier. Job49, thank you for your super chat. God bless you for pointing out the funny. And also, Samantha, Jesus tie color, we're arguing. I don't know exactly what would be this tie color. This should be like a pale pink. Pink, or we call it like guava. We call it guayaba in Venezuela. The fruit would be guayaba. It's called guava. It's that is the color, which is like a pale red. It's more like a pale red. The issue is the lighting. The issue is that it also has a bit of distortion. You said that it distorts a bit. I'm thinking that my program monitor, it distorts a bit in the it distorts a bit in the channel, but yeah, it's like a pale red. Oh well, let's see what else. What else do we have today? We have done for today. That's it. You were amazing in the comments. So many of you. I'm sorry if I couldn't highlight all your comments. I really appreciate. I'm grateful that you were polite. And remember that you can download my 100 body language tips in the description of this video. My body language buddies and my common sense crusaders. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy. And until we meet tomorrow on episode 85, remember the most important words: much love and bliss. Take care. Be safe. I love every single one of you. Bye-bye.